Hi friends, in my last video we talked about how you can apply for a skilled worker visa, which was the entire process, but like promised in the last video. In today's video I'm taking you through the application form. You're probably wondering why you even need to see the application form in the first place, but here's the thing: if you're still contemplating applying for a skilled worker visa, you probably don't have a COS or a certificate of sponsorship. Now, if you don't have your COS number, you can't really start the application yourself. You can't see what the form looks like, and you will not know what is expected of you. You will not know what documents you need, what questions you are going to be asked, what all you need to fill out. And trust me when I say this, it's a really long form, so it's better you have all the information before you start, which is why in today's video I'm taking you on a guided tour of the entire firm to show you what all is going to be asked to you in the form, so you're prepared. Before we move ahead on this channel now, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, it's an absolutely great time to do it. Hit the subscribe button now and click on the bell icon for notifications without wasting any more time. Let's dive in now, starting off with the form. This is from where you can access it. Just go to the link over here, click on this and click apply now. Unless you plan on working in Jersey, Guernsey or the Island of Man, click no. Unless you're from the EU, EAA or have a Swiss passport, click no again. Click on skilled worker visa, enter the country of your residence. In my case it's going to be India. If you know where you're going to give your biometric, click on the first option, or you can click the second and choose a different country. Now take a moment and read all of the details, understand them before starting the process. When you're ready, scroll to the bottom and click apply now. Just a reminder, it's currently taking close to 6 weeks on average to get a decision on your skilled worker visa, so bear that in mind. While applying, you also might be able to get an expedited service depending on where you're applying from, so remember to check that out. Next, if they ask if you have a COS, click on yes. And you need to fill in the COS number or your certificate of sponsorship number. Next, fill in your telephone number with your international code. Don't forget that if you are outside the UK, and click for use whilst outside the UK, depending on whether it's your home, your office or your cell phone number, click the appropriate box, and depending on whether you have other telephone numbers, click yes or no. Now you want to let the team know how to contact you if you're okay to receive phone calls and SMS. Click on the first box. Now moving on, under given name, fill out your first and middle name. If you don't have a middle name, don't worry, just enter your first name. Under the section family name, enter your surname. If you've not had a name change, click no or else yes. Next, pick whichever gender best identifies you and also fill in your relationship status. In the next step, you'll fill out your address and click yes. If you wish to receive any official communication, enter how long you've lived at this address and whether you rent it or you own it. Next, you need to fill out all of your passport details here and your national ID details. If you're from India like I am, you can enter your Aadhaar card details here. After this, enter the details of your birth, where you were born, your date of birth, etc. After this, you will be asked if you've ever had any other nationality. Next, you'll be asked which language you prefer being spoken to regarding your application. If the team needs to get in touch, if you prefer English, great. If not, just click on no and write out the language of your preference. Now, if you're applying as a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare professional, you will be asked if you passed an English language assessment. Click yes or no accordingly. If you are not a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare professional, don't be too stressed about this. This information will be mentioned in your COS. When you move ahead, you will be asked about your English language test. Now, assuming you've either passed it or you have qualifications in the past that hold, click yes. Knowledge of English for the skilled worker visa is mandatory, so bear that in mind. You will also be asked if you have a PhD. Now, I don't have one, so I'm going to click no. If you have a spouse, you will be asked to fill in these details, so fill them all out. And these are not my husband's real details, but it's all right. Now, after this, you need to fill out your parents' details, and you need to fill it out for both of your Parents, next you need to fill out whether you have any family in the UK now. If you don't have family in the UK, don't be too stressed, it doesn't affect you much. We didn't have any family in the UK when we applied. After this you need to respond to whether you know where you'll be staying when you move to the UK. It doesn't have to be a house, it can be a hotel now. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's alright, just say no. You'll also be asked if you plan on staying anywhere else, and if you think you will but you don't know the details, just click on yes and fill out as many details at a high level as you can. Now this is probably the most painful part, where you've traveled. What you will need to do is list down when you travel to any of these countries in the past years, and you'll have to share dates. If you aren't sure, I'd suggest you do some digging, check the visa stamps in your passports, or what you can do is check any of your emails and look for your flight details, and you will get at least a date that's close to the actual date. You need to do this for Australia, Canada, New Zealand, USA, Switzerland, and the EU. This does not include travel to the UK, and it's not over. Next you need to enter whether you've been to any other countries. Now after this it's relatively simple. Enter the details of when you plan on traveling to the UK, details of whether you've been banned for the UK or been deported or entered illegally. You'll also be asked if you have been involved in any criminal or terrorist activities, and for your sake I hope you have not. After this, check the list to see if you've worked in any of these fields. I haven't, so I'm going to check no. Next you need to enter your sponsor license number. This will be mentioned on the costs. If your sponsor has agreed to pay your maintenance amount, please click yes, or else you can just click no. Next up, enter your title, which is your job title, and your salary. When asked if you have reviewed the guidance on professions that require an overseas criminal record check, say yes. When asked is your employment in a profession that requires an overseas criminal record check, your answer needs to be depending on your role. If you're not applying for a health and care worker visa, say no. The same is for the next question. If you're not applying to be a midwife or a nurse, say no. The next one is no too. Now when asked the length of your costs, fill out whatever is mentioned on your costs. If you're applying for some jobs like in defense, you need permission from ADA's. Good job, congratulations, you are finally done with section 1. Alright, in the next section you need to submit documents. The first one is the proof that you have sufficient funds to maintain yourself. You can upload bank statements over here. Now if your funds are spread out across multiple banks, in the next step click yes and repeat the step again. If all of them are in one, you can just click no and move on. On the next page they'll tell you what documents you need. You'll need your passport, your bank statements basis what you've just answered, and your TB results. If you are applying for a skilled worker visa from India like I did, you'll have to give a TB result. You'll have to take a TB test to one of the approved hospitals. When you're done with this application, you will also need to either visit BFS with all of your hard copies or upload them. Next you sign all the declarations and consent to have your information shared with the Home Office. After this it's really simple. All you need to do is make the payment and you're done. Now here's the thing, you probably will get worried in case you've entered the wrong answers anywhere, because it's a really long form, but don't be too stressed. Like you've seen, you can always go back and make changes. You can save the form because you will have to enter a user ID and password. You can save the form and go back and make whatever changes you want, and usually when you complete a section they also give you the summary of everything you filled in, and you can still go back and make whatever changes you want there by editing the document, so don't be too worried about it. But like I said, it's going to take a good amount of time, so just be a little patient. Now here's the thing, if you plan on applying for a skilled worker visa, the timelines are kind of up in the air right now, because like you know, there's this huge backlog of visas for the UK, and this is for all visas: tourist visas, skilled worker visas, student visas. Everyone is struggling right now, and if you want a realistic idea of how long it's going to take you and what steps you can undertake to make sure that you get your visa faster than it would normally take, because it's normally going to take a couple of months, all you need to do is watch this video.